So the way that gnomes, like the appearance of gnomes, like their visual appearance, was only ever described by this guy as just being short, basically. The whole idea of them having the beards and the funny hats and lederhosen and pointy shoes and stuff like that is basically just from them being an earth spirit. Their relation to the existing folklore examples of like German dwarves and things like that, where they were associated with them and so kind of gained properties from them as time went on. As the more people wrote about them, they wanted more descriptions of them.
Yeah, much like, well, even in this, right, so like you have, Grimm's.
Yes, yep.
Was more or less, was from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And same kind of, idea there, I guess. Pointy shoes and...
Yep. Yep, they just basically gained...
Yeah.
People gave them attributes from actual existing folklore instances in order to kind of juice the story up for gnomes and make them more interesting, rather than they're just short elementals. It's like, yeah, they're short elementals, but they got a white Abe Lincoln beard and pointy red hat and all that stuff, that they just took different things from different cultural aspects, and they oftentimes dress them up like Dutch people, weirdly enough.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
It seems there's a lot of Dutch influence as well.
Only visibly, because there is not a lot of Dutch...
Short people.
The Dutch aren't very short, Baxter.
No, they're not. The Dutch are actually very tall.
Yeah.
I was agreeing with you.
Oh, I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
No,
I thought you were.
What?
Okay, I was confused. I thought you were just like, yeah, because the Dutch are tiny. I'm like, they're huge. Dutch people are gigantic.
Because you said there's not a lot of, and I said short people.
Gotcha.
Or short Dutch people or something like that.
I gotcha.
No,
okay.
people in the Netherlands
I feel you
are
now.
extremely tall, extremely beautiful women.
So, the chthonic or earth-dwelling spirit has precedence in numerous ancient and medieval mythologies, often guarding mines and precious underground treasures. That's the Germanic dwarves. And the Greek... I'm not going to try and pronounce that. There's Greek spirits that are similar to dwarves. The gnomes that grew into Swiss folklore from that basically were... said to have caused a landslide that destroyed the Swiss village of Pleurs in 1618. So that goes to show that it took up to like the 1600s for them to gain an actual real, albeit minimal, foothold in any sort of existing folklore. They existed almost entirely in written literature.
Okay, yeah, as written literature, and then eventually in popularity,
yes,
became folklore.
They became
when it spread throughout Europe. And, you get the Dutch influence. And, the sort of Grimm's fairy tales probably had an impact. I don't even know, actually. A little bit sidetrack here, but we're the Grimms. I did a little snort there. You're probably going to hear it in the audio. Anyway, the Grimms were not popular until later, right?
Well, the Grimms are more like a black dog type thing.
Well, I'm talking about...
Like a church Grimm?
Oh, no. I'm talking about Grimm's fairy tales. The actual...
The Grimms.
The brothers Grimm.
I thought you meant like as a folklore thing, and I'm like, that's a freaking dog, man. Okay, I got what you're saying.
No, I've been saying the Grimms. Is it the Grimms?
The Grimms are two M's. Two M's. I got you. I feel you, dog. That was my bad. But yeah,
I've been saying the Grimms. Okay, what do you think I meant all this time? I was saying the Grimms.
I thought you were just talking about like the existence of the church Grimm coming from like German culture, which they are a direct descendant of Germanic.
But no, I was talking about the Grimms, like Grimm's fairy tales.
That is interesting how those two lines of thoughts were running parallel to each other.
And
I was
worked.
following one and you were saying the other, and I totally missed it. Okay, so Grimm with two M's, the dudes.
But obviously the Grimms came later.
Yes.
It was not obviously during the Renaissance.
Correct.
But what the point is that eventually, because there probably was some influence from them.
I want to say the Grimms were the late 1600s, aren't they?
It's not Victorian?
I'm going to look that up right now because I am so curious.
I don't think they were... I think it may have been the Victorian era. I'm not really sure. Because I'm thinking of the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs influence.
Oh,
perhaps.
You are absolutely right. Okay, the Grimm's Fairy Tales was published in 1812, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but was that all the Grimms?
Yes, I do believe so.
They just released it in one volume and that was it?
There were several volumes. That was the earliest one, and it went
Okay,
all the way up through. It just said 1857 was the last one.
Okay, and so that eventually, I know it was 200 years later.
Yes.
From that eventually may have had some impact. I don't know. We're all guessing.
They came into pop culture of the time.
It probably is safe to assume.
Yes,
they had an influence.
Safe to assume they had a huge influence in it.
We should do an entire episode on the Grimms at some point.
That would be a great subject. Actually.
Great subject.
Let us know in the comments if you want to see that.
Do you want to see an episode on the Grimms?
I know you do. And I know you're watching.
We want to do it, so we're going to do it anyway. Right now.